Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. We'll get started with the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of January the 9th. Let's all stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a couple of members to swear in this evening, so Martin Brook, the Township Clerk, will very ably take care of that responsibility.
Great. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. As you said, I'm the Bloomfield Township Clerk, and I'm an attorney by trade. If you give an attorney a mic, he's going to take some liberty over that. So if you give a mouse a cookie, which is one of my favorite books. So, by the way, as Township Clerk, I'm responsible for being Secretary to the Board of Trustees, keeper of all the township records, and I administer all the elections. So I have a customer service announcement about elections. At the back table, is an application or a flyer concerning working as an election worker. There's a presidential primary coming up February 27th. All elections happen in the township because residents get involved and work in precincts and help make this happen. It takes 175 to 200 residents to get involved. We've got about 40 more slots for this February, so I really could use every single one of you to sign up, fill out that form, and come out and help us out in running elections. There is pay, and we do provide training. If you're not interested, maybe you have a son or daughter who is. So you only have to be 16 or 17 years of age, by the way, to do this. You can either get pay or school community service credit. And we are always really happy to have young citizens involved with the election. Okay, so now on to the reason why I'm here. The ZBA is a really important board. It's a very busy board. In 2023 alone, ready? You did 295 different cases. That's a lot. Tonight's packet, by the way, is 294 pages long. That takes a lot of dedication to prepare for this meeting. And every meeting, as will happen tonight, and every night, each applicant gets a full and fair hearing that's done through the presentation materials and all the materials that you read. Many people might say that working on a commission or a board like this is a thankless task. And the Board of Trustees voted to appoint two people who are currently on the board, Carol Rosati and Brian Henry, to continue their service on the board. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to thank you for your service and future service. So you can't say it's a thankless task anymore, since we have thanked you. It is amazing. Brian, by the way, this is your 20th year. 2004, I believe, is when you were first appointed to the ZBA. So, it's really incredible.
I get the gold watch with that? Is that what the...
If you have enough certificates.
Right. You got to trade in those certificates. Yeah. But and then Carol, I know you've served between 2006 and 2001, also as chair at different times. Thank you for coming back to this board as first as an alternate and now as a regular member. It's wonderful to have you back and the expertise that you provide. So with that, let's get on to the quick little part of the business, and then I know that you guys have got a lot to do tonight on a very rainy night. So if you would please stand, Brian and Carol, and raise your right hand. And together we'll just repeat after me. Ready? Okay. I state your name.
I, Carol Rosati,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
And I will support the Constitution of Michigan.
and I will support the Constitution of Michigan.
And I will faithfully discharge my duties
I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals
as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals
for the Charter Township of Bloomfield
for the Charter Township of Bloomfield
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability,
for a term expiring January 1st, 2027.
for a term expiring January 1st, 2027.
Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
I think we could go on Broadway with that sort of, we really.
We had it go.
Yeah, really was good. All right, a couple other items. Item 14, 2698 Turtle Ridge has been postponed, so if you're here for that item, we're not going to be taking it up. And then item 9 on 5560 Lane Lake has been postponed. Anyone here on either of those two items? Okay, so those have been postponed. So we'd like to take attendance.
So noted.
Okay, so I'll need a motion to approve the minutes of December 12th, 2023.
So moved.
Support.
A motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So we're going to be calling the first item, which is 1T1849 Harvest Lane, which we heard in August. And Jocelyn, I don't think you were here. Is that correct? Right? I'm sorry, I got to read the introduction here, but were you here in August?
I can't recall.
You can't recall, so the notes say that you haven't, so,
Okay.
sorry, I skipped over the introduction. The Zoning Board of Appeals is a 7-member quasi-judicial body appointed by the Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees per the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act. Matters pending before the Zoning Board of Appeals are decided on a case-by-case basis. Any appeal of a decision made by the Zoning Board of Appeals is subject to circuit court review. Each case will be called separately in the order shown on tonight's agenda. There will be an opportunity for public comment at one point during each case. All persons wishing to comment will be asked to provide their name and address at the podium. Address your comments to the board and not the applicant or other members of the public. Given the numbers of appeals tonight, please make your comments brief. Comments by the Neighborhood Association will be considered as part of the factual information presented to the board, but those comments are not the determining factor for approval or denial. Please confine comments to the specific request before the board. For requests to be successful, an affirmative vote of at least 4 members present is required. We hope this gives you a better understanding of what you can expect at tonight's meeting. So I just wanted to check that. What you sent me earlier was Jocelyn was not present at the prior
The August meeting?
I understood she was present.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. So we got Taylor and me. So Glenda was not here. Bob Taylor's not here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So,
Correct.
okay.
And the 5 are, if you could read the 5 that can vote on this item.
Giagrande, Ford, Faki, O'Donnell, and Rosati.
Okay. So
Okay.
everybody except for you and Mr. Gittleman.
Okay. All right. So if you could summarize for us why you're back in front of us.
Okay, I'm April Lang from Agofina Gardens, representing the Osmonds at 1849 Harvest Lane. And we were seeking approval and are still seeking approval to install a fountain in the front yard of the home. And last time, we did not have the HOA's approval to do that. Since then, we've gotten the HOA's approval. So now we're just bringing it back before the board. So it's a low, like 20-inch high fountain that's just going to overflow over the sides. The neighborhood was concerned about the volume. We've addressed that, and I don't think they have any other concerns. And you really can't see it from any other residences because she's on that unique island lot.
So do we have any questions of the applicant?
I guess I would just ask, why did the air conditioners have to be located there?
That was something that kind of came about, I'm not sure exactly, since we're the landscape company. When the home was built, that's where they were permitted and approved and everything. And one of the things that was done for this was that the site was resurveyed. And with the resurvey, it seems like the natural feature setback changed just a slight bit. So
Okay.
just the very corner of the air conditioner is now in the natural feature setback, but it wasn't before.
Any other questions? So I'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on this item? Close the public hearing. We back to the board for motion or discussion.
With respect to the property located at 1849 Harvest Lane, I would move to grant the permission request for the water fountain because the applicant has demonstrated compliance with Section 42-7.6 standards. The proposed fountain is compatible with the adjoining properties and it will not interfere with the use of adjoining properties, particularly because of this parcel of property that sits by itself on an island. With respect, and I'd also say the homeowners association, you did work with them subsequent at our request and did work things out, and we appreciate that. With respect to the dimensional variances, I would move to approve that variance as well because the applicant has demonstrated practical difficulty. The practical difficulty is in large part due to the unique shape of the parcel, the fact that it's surrounded on all sides by water, and the error really resulted because of a change in the survey, which was not the applicant's fault. There would be no injustice to the adjoining neighbors, and the issue is not self-created. If this is approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 5 business days for the existing air conditioner. I'm going to require additional evergreen screenings around those air conditioners. The plants that you have are not sufficient. They have to be totally screened from public view. And application for all necessary permits must also be made within 1 year for the water fountain.
I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Do I have one opposed? So do you want to do a roll call for that?
McKee? No. O'Donnell?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Giogrande?
Yes.
Henry cannot vote. Rosati?
Yes.
So we have a total of 3 in favor and 1 against. Did I miss somebody?
No, it's
No, wait, there was
4 to 1.
4. I think there was 4.
O'Donnell.
That's low.
I'm sorry, you're
Because we have,
correct.
because we have 5 voting members.
Motion carries 4 to 1.
Okay, so
Sorry about that.
congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're calling the next item 535 North Williamsbury.
Happy 2024, here we go. Matt Mosier representing the homeowners at 535 North Williamsbury. We brought this case before you, I don't know, a couple of years ago now for an outdoor living area, which included a cabana. When the contractor built the cabana, they put a mini split on the back side of the cabana, which requires a variance due to it not being within 10 feet of the house. And in this circumstance, they have a unique lot, and the cabana and the pool and all that is off to the kind of the side yard. This mini split system, which we saw in the last picture, is densely screened from the neighbors and any kind of view. I don't see much of an issue, but happy to answer any questions for you guys.
What's the screening that's proposed?
There's tons of evergreens that got planted behind there, so you can't even see past the lot. So the whole back line is just loaded with evergreens.
Does that fully screen the cabana or just the,
Fully screens everything, because down the side of the lot, if we were looking at the top view, it's screened all the way up the whole right side there, so you can't see the cabana or anything from the road, and you can't see into the property at all. So you can see the evergreens all to the left there.
Any other questions from the board? I'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on this item? Close public hearing, bring it back for further discussion or motion.
What was the reason why it couldn't be right by the house?
Because it's the cabana, which is, I don't know, it's probably 60, 70 feet from the house. You can't run a condenser line that far without it losing all of its...
Okay, I can make a motion. All right, with regard to the appeal at 535 North Williamsbury Road for the dimensional variance, I move that it be approved as submitted. The applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the placement of the home and the cabana, making it difficult to run the wires that far. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact that they will not be able to see this air conditioning unit since it will be screened 12 months out of the year with evergreen screening. The unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated again given the placement of the home on the lot, and it's not self-created due to the reasons stated above. Because it's already existing, all necessary permits should be made within 5 business days for the air conditioner. And while it is screened now, that screening will have to be maintained and should be evergreen screening 12 months out of the year.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Calling item 2, 281 North Glenhurst.
Oh, hey. You want to talk, or? Go ahead. Doesn't matter. I don't know if I need to. Okay. Matt Whetstone with Greater Detroit Landscape Company, representing Chris Bobber, homeowner at 281 North Glenhurst. We're looking to seek approval for an exterior gas fireplace on a raised back patio along with a kitchenette that'll be built on either side of it. The unit falls within the 16-foot setback. We're clear of that, height requirements and everything. We've talked to the village. There are no issues there. Just looking for your approval on account of the height.
Okay, and this is just a permission request. Any questions? Open this for the public. Anyone like to speak on this item? Close the public hearing and bring it back for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll take this motion. In regard to the appeal at 281 North Glenhurst Drive for the permission request for the accessory structure, I move the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with the section 42-7.6 standards because the use of the accessory structure is appropriate to neighborhood as it has also been approved by the association. If approved, the motion must include all application for necessary permits to be made within 1 year and all permits to be obtained prior to construction. And additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the fireplace and kitchenette from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the structures at the time of planting.
Support.
I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you. There you go. Quick and easy.
Calling item 35232 Van Ness.
And I need to disclose at this point that I am within the notice distance for this item. However, I do not know the applicant, and it won't impact my decision.
Okay.
Hi, Matt Mosier, representing the homeowners at 5232 Van Ness. I brought this one before you about a year ago. Right before they started construction, they decided they wanted to make it slightly larger, about 2 feet out, and cover the barbecue. The barbecue had a little pergola over it before. I recommended that we come back to the township and see what we needed to do, and township decided that a variance would probably be best just to double check it. But really no changes from the previous variance that you approved for this. Simply came out, like I said, about 2 feet, and then the area where the bar is, the barbecue, which is on the bottom right picture to the left, that was just a pergola over that area. Now it's just the covered roof extended, so no other changes besides that.
Any questions from the board? Open this to the public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this item? Did you want to speak?
She's the homeowner.
You're the homeowner. Okay, I'm sorry. Then I'll close public hearing and bring it back to the board.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
In regard to the appeal at 5232 Van Ness Drive for proposed fireplace and kitchenette. Accessory structure, I move the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the use of accessory structure is appropriate in the neighborhood as this is a common accessory structure. With that said, if approved, the motion also includes application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. and additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the pavilion and kitchenette from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the structure at the time of planting.
Support. Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you. I've got the next one, too.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
So
Item 4, this is very efficient.
Matt Moser, representing the homeowners at 6,000 Snowshoe Circle. This is a landscape that we designed about 4 years ago. Part of the approval was a sport court back then. The homeowner, I think within the last year, decided to build the sport court and built it larger than what was originally approved with a 10-foot fence. So he called me to try to help him out. I went and took a look at everything. Nothing out of character from where it was before. It just got larger. It is well screened, and I did recommend he go to his association, which he did, and got approval from them. The reason I asked him why he went to a 10-foot fence, and he's got little kids, and the balls are just flying out with the 6-foot. So anyway, he's hoping he can keep what he has. It sounds like the neighborhood is supportive of it. And from my knowing this township, I didn't see any issues when I visited the site and looked at it. So happy to answer any questions and what we need to do.
Yeah, so we approved 30 by 60 in 2020.
Yeah, when I got it approved, it was 30 by 60, and he ended up building it to a tennis court size when he went and did it.
72 by 120?
Right,
With a 10-foot fence.
right.
Okay. And I actually have in the notes that actually we approved that in 2021. Didn't build
Yeah.
it.
Not the
Okay.
fence, though.
Not the fence.
Not the fence.
Right.
So we still need the fence. Got a bigger sports court than the fence.
Well, he really just went from a sport court to a tennis court, which tennis court obviously is a 10 or a 12-foot fence. That's
Gotcha.
typical, you know.
All right, any questions from the board? Open this to the public. Anyone like to speak on this? Then you can just come up and state your name and address.
I'm Robert Levy. I live at 6191 Thorncrest Drive, which is behind the property, and I'm also here on behalf of our neighbor. I just wanted to address the board to see if there was any follow-up. At the time that the court was approved, I believe there was a request for 40, they were going to put in 40 pine trees to block the structures and everything on their property. And to this date, I don't believe those have come in. So I wanted to know if the board has any way that they follow up on these pine trees being erected or not. There's a lot of light pollution that comes from this house because it's very high, and it shines all the way down Thorncrest, which is the street you can see below in this area. So the top of the house, they have the lights on very late, and you can see them all the way down the street. So there's no, the amount of foliage that's there is limited, and actually my neighbor has put up trees themselves in order to block the light. But it's
But you're talking about lights on the house, correct?
yeah, lights in the house.
Yeah. We're talking
in the
about the
interior
sports
lights
court.
house, but I'm saying the sports court is adjacent, and there's playing pickleball, so it's kind of loud. But if they put up the 40, we were wondering whether or not when they're going to put up the 40 trees that they stated they're going to put up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that'd like to speak on this? Yeah, close the public hearing and have the applicant respond.
I think it's part of the approval. I mean, it's required that they have evergreen screening anyway, so the client has always been good to work with, and I'm sure if I let him know that he's got to get those trees up, he'll do so. So I don't see it being an issue.
Was that in the approval? Did you see that in the notes? 'Cause
From the previous approval?
yeah.
I'm not seeing, I don't have a recollection of specifically 40 trees.
Yeah, because typically we wouldn't put a number, the ordinance and require that it's
in the presentation here.
okay, so it's got to be screened from public view.
Which is no problem.
Matt, are you doing the landscaping?
No, I did the plan 4 years ago. They implemented most of the plan, and then they went out and did the court later. So, but we can obviously, you know, I think if I remember right, and I wish I had it in front of me, the original approval, there is a like a vegetation line a little bit, and probably a lot of it's deciduous along that back. So if I remember correctly, there wasn't a lot of evergreens along the back property line called out. But obviously, when somebody builds a house and moves in, you can see. So I think if the homeowner needs to put some evergreens along that back property line where it's a concern, knowing this client, I don't think there's any issue whatsoever if you guys put that in your motion to fully screen the, what would be the west property line from the court.
I guess I just need to say, I mean, your client knew that they needed to come here to do anything because they already
goes.
came twice. Okay, so, you know, that,
Yeah, I came and got it all approved, and then I
That's what I sent
got a
Matt.
call a
That's
couple
what I
months.
sent Matt.
that's why they
showed-
sent you, I know that, because they know I
Matt's a
won't
sweet
yell.
I get a lot of these.
Thought Matt could sweet talk us.
You know what you're doing. Go up there and try to get me out of this.
No.
No, they're good people, but
Yeah,
anyways.
it's, you know, it's just,
So can we rely on Matt's representation?
Is it just a dimensional variance, or is there the permission request too? Is it
both,
showing
wouldn't it be?
for the kitchenette and fireplace?
There's
don't
no
think that,
fireplace and
no.
kitchenette.
This
That-
is just
but
for, I think,
it would
the
be a
10 foot.
permission for the sports court.
Oh,
wouldn't
I'm
it?
sorry, when I
Yeah.
wrote permission request, that's a
Yeah.
typo, my apologies.
So it is just
It's
a
a permission
dimensional
request for the
variance.
sports court, because the sports court is
It's bigger.
requesting now
Yeah.
is, we're going back to the original 2021 request.
It's
So
bigger.
I would say that the request for the new size would be under consideration tonight. Okay.
Can I ask, because I've been off a little while, so what have we been typically doing in terms of height with sports courts? Or does it depend on the situation?
I think it would depend.
Depends on the
Okay,
size
all
of the
right.
lot and the distance and the screening and the...
All right.
Well, and they're saying because it's tennis. So
All
that's-
the tennis courts you guys have approved for me, I think we've found 4 or 5, have always been a 10-foot because it's tennis. All the sport courts are always 6. So not to say that that's what the rule is, but just letting you know like what you've approved
It
before.
seems, right, it seems,
Yeah, we really are.
okay.
And it's just 10 on the back sides. It's not all the way around.
We had the public hearing.
I can
Because we
make
got
a
the
motion.
comments. That's how we got the comments on the 40 trees.
Right.
Public hearing closed. Response, back to the board.
You're on.
Yeah, okay. So I'll start with the permission request first. So with regard to the permission request at 6,000 Snowshoe Circle for this larger sports court, tennis court, I'm going to move that it be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant demonstrated compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the use of the accessory structure is appropriate to this neighborhood, as this is a common feature, and we are going to be requiring additional evergreen screening so that it is not a nuisance to nearby neighbors. With regard to the dimensional variance for the existing fence, the 10-foot high fence, I'm going to move that that also be approved as submitted. The applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the fact that the homeowner has young children at home, and tennis balls flying in the air could pose a safety risk to those children. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbor by reason of the fact that this will be fully screened 12 months out of the year with evergreen screening. And unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated, again, given the young nature of this family and the size of the sports court that they have there. And it's not self-created due to the reasons stated above. I will add that because the sports court already exists, the necessary permit should be made within 5 business days, and that they will have to have additional evergreen plantings to fully screen the sports court and the fence from all sides, and that should be 12 months out of the year. So if there is deciduous trees, they'll have to supplement those with evergreen trees. And the use of the sports court is limited to daytime hours, and there is no illumination permitted on the sports court.
Support.
Can I ask a question?
So I have motion and support. Any discussion?
Yes. So with respect to the screening, would you consider mandating that the screening be placed around the sports court versus on the property line?
Is that possible? Because I think, isn't there a pool there?
Yeah, I mean, looking at this from your guys' perspective, I think getting it a little closer to the property line, because it's not that far away, would help with the lights, number one. And, so I think it kills two birds with one stone. Of course, they can do it around the court, but I think looking out for the neighbors, which I think is the spirit of all this stuff, is having it more along the property line is going to provide better screening and take care of some of the concerns that don't have to do with this board as well. That's just my opinion. Now, Ms. Carroll, if you want it closer to the court, it's fine. I'm just giving you my opinion.
I want to make sure that it really is screened.
It's got a screen.
Yeah, I know the property well, and doing it along the line and where they're asking, it'll take care of it. And I think it should just be mandated that the trees be a certain height that you guys want, and not 6 footers or whatever.
Right, the trees have to meet or exceed
the height of the fence,
So
right.
if the fence is 10 feet, they have to be 10 feet or higher.
Right, so that would take care of it. And the topography on that lot's fairly flat, so it's not like you're like down a hill and then up here.
Okay, so you're saying that they do, and you will plant a row of screening
I'll pass
along
the
those
message along, and I'll
along
copy
those
you on the
property
email.
lines, the 2 property lines?
Yeah, so I would recommend that the screening go in front of the deciduous natural foliage.
On the west and south?
On the west, sorry, go ahead right here.
Pointer maybe?
Well, I think they kind of know, but basically, I'm sorry, on the very left line there. And then any openings that would be, the south down there is pretty well screened because the sport court's like way up there.
This is where we're talking about actually, it's along the southern line.
Okay.
Is where the most
Right.
problem.
Okay, so anywhere where I guess you could see the court from the outside, that should be fully screened.
I want to make sure that it goes in
Right.
and it screens.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe just to make the motion more clear, so on the western and the southern property lines, there should be full evergreen screening.
Yep.
Support.
And Matt, I know you kind of got put in a tough spot. It's not your fault, but I think you need to convey to your clients that both the chair and the former chair are not happy that the screening wasn't taken care of in the first place, that you've been before us twice, and that the neighbors had to come and sort of report that it wasn't done.
Yeah, trust me, I will.
and so
I don't like being up here.
Because of your integrity and reputation,
I like getting paid
we
for
can
it.
rely on your representation, but normally I might
Know where to find you.
Right, I might postpone this and bring the homeowner back to say, can't have this happen again. So we're relying on you.
Right. Well,
Your persuasive
you always
powers.
have, and I don't think I've let you down.
No, you haven't, so that's.
Anyway, they're good people. And
Okay.
I'll let them know it's absolutely critical, and
Okay.
so I don't think you have to worry.
Okay.
So we have a
Support.
we have motion and support with clarification. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, request is approved.
Thank you.
Okay, let's call the next item. Item 5.
Hi, Kathy Payton, 15309 Tannehill Lane. I just want to replace my fence. There's a wooden fence now. I want to replace it with a white plastic fence.
Do you have any screening plan for the fence?
Do I have any what?
Screening? Anything on the outside, like vegetation? Or?
No.
Okay.
And the HOA approved it.
Okay. Any questions from the board? I'll open this to the public. Any here on the public that would like to comment on this item? Close the public hearing, bring back to the board. So we have an existing wood fence.
No, this says it's, we're asking for a variance for the proposed 6-foot-high wood fence, but it's actually a plastic fence that we're approving. White plastic, okay.
Is it plastic or aluminum?
Plastic.
Do you have a picture of what it looks like by chance?
No.
And it is going to be 6 feet? You're
Yes.
going to replace it with a 6
Yes.
foot? Okay.
I see another white fence in this left side picture. Is it similar to that?
Probably, yeah. It's. I'm not sure what that fence looks like, actually.
Is it a solid white
It's
fence?
a solid
Is it-
white fence.
Solid white fence, okay.
Solid.
Solid as opposed to
plastic.
slats?
So,
Yeah.
It's not dimensional?
not slats, it's
Yeah.
a solid panel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that helps.
I think there's a description there from when I purchased the fence that's included in there. thought.
And you're looking for 6 feet.
Yes, it's 6-foot wooden fence, and I just want to replace it because it's a little worn.
And this is common for that neighborhood?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
Wait a minute, did you have the public hearing?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I've not had the public hearing. So any other questions? And open the public hearing. Does anyone like to comment on this item? Close the public hearing, bring it back to the board.
I'll make a motion. In regards to the appeal at 1539 Tannehill Lane for a 6-foot fence variance, I move that the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. As without a fence, it looks like it would prevent probably the reasonable privacy that will be required in a condominium complex. There'll be no injustice to the adjoining neighbors because, for one, these types of fences seem to be common, but also because there will be required to be screening, which will be put in my motion. Unique circumstances of the property, again, because of the condominium complex and the close nature of the properties, is that a fence would probably be required for privacy, and because of that, it is not self-created. If approved, the motion also includes application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. An additional evergreen planting should be required to screen the 6-foot high fence from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the fence at the time of planting.
Support.
So you mean I have to put a fence and then put up trees behind it? Is that what you?
Screened.
So hold on a second, we're in the middle of a motion. So we have a motion and support. Any discussion on the motion?
I don't believe it would require screening, so I don't know. I don't want to.
Well, let me look. Can you go
Revoke my
back?
support,
Because I
but-
was torn, because, again, can we go back?
That's why we're discussing the motion. That's okay, we can discuss it.
Will there, well,
Is that a sidewalk that runs behind?
the comments?
That's the people behind me, that's their sidewalk to the front door. And a lot of people in the association have fences and nobody has evergreens around their fences.
Yeah, it's a privacy fence.
Right.
Yeah. You're close together and you want to have some barrier so that,
To me, because it's replacing the existing one, and the existing one did not have screening, I don't believe that we should require.
right, and the association has approved it.
Exactly.
So that's another
Okay, well,
mitigating factor.
I'll adjust my motion. Because I was thinking about, I wasn't sure if there was space for the screening as well.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll take that back. So, all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. And at this time, I'm not going to require any evergreen screenings or plantings, as that does not seem to be typical in this particular complex.
Support.
So I have a motion and support. Any discussion on the revised motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted. Calling the next item, 4115 Orchard Way.
Hello, Paul Jacques, homeowner. So the way that this whole thing started is we simply wanted to put up a lawn shed. We have a 1950 ranch with a very small garage to house our lawnmowers, snow blowers, etc. Subdivision will not permit, will not approve unattached structures in Foxcroft subdivision. So I proposed doing what I'm calling an attached garage on the east side of the home. It's going to be a small garage, 12 wide, 8 deep, with a single overhead door. It has been approved and stamped by the Association Architectural Committee. And due to the unique pie-shaped, I'm the first house on Orchard Way off of Telegraph, and due to we have a pie-shaped lot, so the existing home is already outside of the setbacks. So I'm proposing to put this shed on it's to the east side of the home. So the shed actually would be facing Telegraph Road, which you cannot see the home from Telegraph because of the thick natural vegetation and a berm that's already there. And there are actually no residents that would even be able to see this either, because across Orchard Way from me is the common park. And then behind me, we have the condominiums. There's a 5-foot brick wall and also a double row of pine trees there. So I don't believe that anyone, other than maybe somebody going down the road, would be able to see it. It's proposing to be built with a like product as the existing house, fiber cement siding, same color, window that matches. It's going to come right off of that end of the house. Window that matches the existing windows on the house. It's just going to look like an extension of the house and the same roof line. Everything will match the house. So from the road, you'll just think it's just an addition onto the house. As I said, it's already been approved by the subdivision, and I guess that's it.
Any questions from the board? I'll open this up to the public. Anyone like to comment on it? Close the public hearing, back to the board. That was a good presentation because you gave some good facts there. Telegraph, 2 frontages, irregular lots. So
Mr. Chair, I can make a motion.
Sure.
In regard to the appeal at 4115 Orchard Way for the setback variance, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the shape of the lot. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the orientation of the lot of the addition on the home, and that it's not making this house any more non-conforming. And unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the fact that the lot has a unique shape, and this is not self-created.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
Wait.
If approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Sorry about that.
Support.
So,
Sorry about that.
motion and support. Any discussion? Really off today. It's that good. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
It's the weather.
Everything's a little off. You can't read, can't talk. Okay, next item. Item 7, 4955 Stone Lake.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Tim Kreiderman. I'm representing the homeowner at 4955 Stone Lake. Additionally, I was involved in quite a bit of this project, and therefore the homeowner asked me if I could help with the request this evening. The project came before me a couple of years ago. During the hearing, you granted permission to build a pool, cabana, a bathroom, and a sport court, which was located on the west side of the property. After approval, the client engaged myself and my firm to construct the proposed features of the property, on the property. Over the course of the year, we constructed the pool, the bathroom, and the cabana. Like many of these projects go, some items got nixed from the budget for various reasons. In this case, the sport court became an item that was removed from our scope of work. In an effort to finalize my contracted part with the project and to be courteous to my client, I recommended he contact the sport court company direct and work with them installing it if he chose to do so. From what I understand from the sport court contractor who is here and can explain better, the client contracted him to install the sport court. When the sport court contractor met and asked where it was going, the client showed him the location that he would like it, which was different than the originally approved. Seeing that all the other features were recently constructed, the sport court company came in and asked me if the sport court was approved, and I let them know that there was one approved on the site. He then installed the court where the client wanted, and not even thinking to question the location, seeing it was a very practical location for the property. Being that the court area was within the required setbacks, the sport court contractor didn't think to have any notion that it wasn't approved in that location. Therefore, he constructed the court where it sits today. After my review of the court was within all the required setbacks, has no additional features that are not common to other courts in the community, including no lighting, according to the client, is only used for daytime activity. Furthermore, there are several evergreens on the neighboring property to the north, But my client is more than happy to add any more evergreens if necessary. It was never his intention to cause any issue or do anything against the township rules. He was well aware that the township would be doing final inspections of all the features. Looking from the outside in, I truly think that this was an innocent mistake. From my perspective, the improvement meets all the township guidelines for this type of structure. Therefore, I kindly ask for the approval and granting the revised permission variance to my client. Happy to answer any questions you guys have.
So basically, this was approved in one location, and then, but it was built
Correct.
in another. So you're here because of...
We moved the location, yeah. The location was over on the west side. You know, the homeowner is, you know, conveyed to the sport court contractor that he wanted to put it on the right side.
Is the homeowner here tonight?
Brian is not here, no. He couldn't make it, so. I did the pool, I did the cabana, I did the bathroom. You know, I did all the construction, so him and I are good friends, and he asked me to help out with this.
So in theory, it's, I mean, I guess you could say it's no big deal, it was approved, they just put it somewhere else. The problem is that we have comments from neighbors complaining about the noise, so moving it.
I believe the noise comment was just related to his stereo, that he plays music loud. Which, I mean, obviously there's nothing to do with the sport court, but I mean, that's a neighborly dispute.
I mean, I don't know. I beg to differ, and because basically what our understanding is that they are playing the music while they're using the sports court. So if the sports court wasn't there, then in theory the music would not be there either.
As far as from what I understood, based on the two neighbors through conversation, it's when they're out enjoying the pool. They have the music playing. The neighbor came over, talked to my client, and said, "Hey, turn down the music." And you know, obviously it sounds like they've made, you know, signs of improvement with that based on his letter.
Well, we can maybe get some public comment on that.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Any other questions? So I'd like to open a public hearing. Does anyone like to comment on this?
So, hello, my name is Piero Smith. I reside at 4900 Lassa, which is actually right. The back of my yard is the one, indeed, that hears the music. The sports court is right at that corner. And I had a presentation because I sent a letter. I know there was a letter also from the president of the association speaking about that issue as well as the music, indeed. But I thought instead of repeating what I said in the letter, I thought it would be useful that I can show you some of the illustration of what we're dealing with. I think that's the one. So on that picture you can see there.
To come over here, Pierre, and
That's fine.
shift through here, because this is your presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
I hope you can hear me from here. And let me put this here. So on the picture there, you see on the left, or in the middle rather, the property in question. In red is where they put the sports court that was not approved. In green is where it was approved. And my house, our house, is on the top there on the picture. You can also see the house on the right, for which about 2 months ago, we...
Sorry.
Sorry, the house on the right, where 2 months ago the neighbor we spoke with, and we approved or actually supported the location of the sports court that you can see on the right, which is close to Lasso, knowing that it was going to be noisy. The neighbor, Mr. Fantic, and Mr. Fantic did build without even speaking to us. And what I want to show you on the next picture, how do we go to the next picture, is the view that we have. Well, no, what I want to mention is we had approved the original plan with the sports court we can see there on the left, the cabana, the pool, as well as, which is quite important, all of the trees in the back there, which would be blocking the view from our property. That was the intent, at least. We also see there on the left, the sports court was supposed to have one hoop. And
Close enough. We know what you're saying.
Okay.
I think he's doing better than you.
Yeah.
Can we go to the next one? And instead of building that, what I want to show also is that in application, they insisted more than once they were going to put some evergreen plant screening. And now the last question, which is important, about how will the location of that building be objectionable to nearby dwelling by reasons of noise, he wrote, or they wrote, this will have no impact. Mr. Mosher, who is right here, maybe still here, had at the time, as you can see from the minutes, emphasized again that they were going to put some evergreening, and at the end you guys approved it, assuming, rightly so of course, that there was not going to be an issue in terms of usage of the accessory structure for the neighbors. Unfortunately, it didn't happen like that. Can we go to the next view? This is a picture. What you don't see on the first drawings you saw is our house is kind of elevated compared to that property. We're on a little bit of a hill. So this is the view we have from our house. Whatever they're speaking about evergreens that is currently hiding something, you see there's nothing hiding anything right now. And even if they were to plant evergreens, they would have to be quite high because of the angle, of course, from which we come. As a note, the white fence wasn't built by them, it was built by the prior owner, and of course they have had to deal with that. Of course they could take it out, but that's the situation. As you can see on the right, we've had, despite the season and this letter written by the township, we've had for the entire summer and fall, people, large groups by the way, adolescents, adults, playing on that sports court even though they were not supposed to. Let's go to the next picture. Now, when it comes to the pool, because the problem of the trees is not limited, unfortunately, to the sports court, despite their repeated claims that we're going to put trees and evergreens, there's nothing. You can see the picture on the left on the top was taken when they when they started swimming, which is beginning of June 2023, and they've been using this pool, cabana, etc., and the sports court the entire summer and fall for parties, whether swimming or not, at night. And the picture you see at the bottom on the right is a picture that I took from my house just 2 days ago. Still no evergreen. There was never any evergreen planted.
And I'd like to also make, just for proportion's sake, a note about that little spot that you see. That's our balcony. So just to show how close the proximity is to our property and where we would like to be able to enjoy our property as well. It's quite close, and there's still nothing.
Okay, so when I spoke to Mr. Fantic, because indeed I did speak to Mr. Fantic, I'm trying to come up with some resolution about, first of all, the evergreen screening. He first asked me if I was going to plant some screens, as if it was my duty to plant screening on my property. Then he told me that he was planning to plant some trees in the summer of 2024, not even where it was approved to be, but he wanted to plant them on the other side of the fence, which, as you can see for the small, you see the post there from DTE, there's even a stake there on the right with the orange flag. There is barely any space to put any trees there, let alone trees that would be staggered and hide anything. So not only has he moved the location of the sports court without any permission, but he's also trying right now not to even build the screening A, at all, and B, even if we were to build it, God knows how much, and he would not even want to build it where it was approved, which you saw in the original drawing.
And it would be our responsibility to maintain.
Yeah, on top of that, but that's another issue. Let's go to the next one. As you can see from the drawings on the right or in the middle is the drawing that was just submitted recently with a new sports location. They show a few trees there on the right, as I mentioned. That would be, it's hard to see, but they propose to put 8 to 10 foot trees, which would never be high enough to hide the sports court from our view. Yeah, right there, thank you. On the left is again the approved drawing that we had received. Oh yeah, that's fine. Although, yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to use this properly. So on the left there, you can see this is the drawings you had approved in June of 2022, 22, and you can see all those trees there that they were supposed to plant. They don't even appear anymore on the new drawing, as if it's all gone. The only thing they have proposed is a few trees with the limited space they have with existing court on the right. All the other trees that they were supposed to plant are gone. Is there another slide? No. Finally, we spoke indeed about the noise, and I want to mention indeed that despite the fact that you guys had given approval to this accessory structures, and that they wrote there was not going to be any impact from a noise-related point of view, they've been playing music, not just when they swim, but anytime they go out. We have cases, we have videos and recordings that they would even leave the music on at night, that he would play it when they have simply a gathering of people without swimming. All that mixed sometimes, of course, with sports courts noises that are very close to us. And when I spoke to Mr. Fanting about that as well, when I asked him to reduce the sound, no, he hasn't. And what he told me as a solution is, Pierre, don't worry, you can play your own music outside whenever you want to. I'll have no problem with that. Clearly, that's not a solution, obviously. So I'm simply respectfully asking the board to ask the Fantic to stick to the original plan, which is A, put the sports court where it belonged in the first place, B, put the evergreen screening that was supposed to where it's supposed to be, and third, stick to the no impact claim they made about noise. I know that you've had some ruling in the past where, for example, when there was some water equipment to be installed or for a pool, you would state that the noise, there should be no noise increase compared to current situation prior to accessory structure. That's what I'm asking, to go back to normal noise prior to the installation or the construction of the accessory structures, which would mean, by definition, no music like that. I forgot to tell you, the music is so loud that we don't not only hear it outside, several hours per day, without night, in the morning, in the evening, weekends, weekdays, but even inside the house. It's like one of those cars passing on the road, you hear the bass. You hear that in our house, except it lasts for hours. It is absurd. I've never heard anyone doing it, and even when you approach him, he still doesn't change the situation. It's not understandable. And I know there's a letter from the president of the association who indicated that there's been other people who have been mentioning also the loud music that they've been hearing from the street. I'm sorry, I was a little bit long, but I thought it was important to express that to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask him a
Sure.
question?
No comment?
If,
Wait, we have a question.
I have a question for you. How much higher is the elevation on your property than this property estimate?
My estimate would be about 15 feet from the elevation difference.
Yeah, it looks like you're quite a bit higher.
Yeah, and then the house we are building is quite tall because there's a basement, there's a walkout basement.
Okay,
there's a-
well,
Sorry.
if it had been built the way it was initially approved, wouldn't you still see it?
I've been thinking about the exact same thing. I believe not, for the reason that since the court, even if it's the same size, by the way, the court is bigger what they build compared to what it was supposed to build. Being so much further away, from an angle point of view, imagine that, from the terrace, same location, instead of being 50 feet from the house, it would be 100 feet. I think that the same tree height from an angle point of view would hide more the court than where it is right now. Plus, there is also a cabana, it's a little bit hard to see, that currently is there in the right location, as far as I know, and would hide also a portion of the sports court.
Okay.
But it's a question I've been wondering about, indeed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this item?
I guess I'll pop up since I helped with this one in the beginning. So I came in front of you, I don't know, a couple of years ago on this project and subsequently did the plans, and the homeowner took the plans and got contractors to implement them. So, I didn't have any involvement on the installation. But I think looking at this, when you guys originally approved the plans, I did what we always do, which is show the significant evergreen screening. And knowing, I also just got the approval for the neighbors next door that he's talking about as well.
Which we supported, by the way.
Yeah, which you guys are great. But, so whatever happened with the sport court, that's what they're talking about. I don't have anything to do with that. But what I think would be helpful is, if those trees go in, regardless of where anything is on that property, that's going to solve the issue. And you have a beautiful lot. It is, unfortunately because of your view, it's a bit higher. But I think the best solution is to plant those trees, because if the Norway spruces that we proposed originally do go in, they're going to grow 40, 50 feet. And they grow pretty quick. You're going to get 2 to 3 feet a year out of those.
It doesn't take away the noise.
And
also them playing basketball together with music.
Yeah. Well, I can't do anything about the noise. I try to, I think I'm pretty reasonable, and I try to be neighborly on our projects. And sometimes maybe our clients don't do things that we would do in our own house. But I think with the noise, I don't know what to do other than enforce the noise ordinance with the police, right? I mean,
Is there,
there's no
Matt,
speakers or anything
Yeah.
around the court, is there?
You know, the
think-
speakers, sorry, in the cabana.
Okay, wait a minute.
The cabana, okay.
I think part of the problem is when you're talking about noise, you're talking about a complaint of music playing too loud, okay? When we're evaluating whether the thing will cause noise, we're looking at the particular thing. Is there something about the thing that would make noise? Is it,
Sorry. Yep.
is it a fountain that's going to make a ton of
Right.
noise with water? Is it not
Playing the sport.
right.
Sometimes like pickleball.
yeah, right, sport, playing the
Sport, the
sport.
basketball.
The ball hitting,
Tennis
okay?
balls.
Not something unrelated to the thing itself, okay?
Yep.
All right, so I want you to understand that. It's not that we're saying, we don't,
Right.
that's not important to us, but that's not the noise that we evaluate, okay?
Okay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say, so.
Answer to that, or?
It's not, this isn't a debate thing, okay? But if there is a noise issue, that's certainly something that can be brought to the township's attention, because there are noise ordinances.
It is part of the cabana. I forgot to mention that, I'm sorry. They built a cabana and add a loudspeaker to those accessory structures. It's not noise or music coming from the house. It's coming from the cabana.
I think we understand.
Yeah, we
So
understand.
that's why I think it's
Yeah.
different than just noise coming
But
from
we
the house.
understand, but that cabana's not even before us tonight, okay? So that's all, so I think we all read your letter, very well written. I think we've heard everything you said, but I just wanted to point that out to you, that noise issue is different from what we're considering.
Can I say one more thing? Why is there question number 5 on the application that speaks about noise related, if it's not to be addressed by the board?
Again,
And as I mentioned,
as I just
It's
explained,
related to the request for the variance in front of us.
the
so.
thing itself.
I think there is a noise law where
Correct.
police come out with a noise
Decibel
thing.
levels
Right.
that are permitted, and if there's an issue, you can bring it to the attention of the township, and it can be measured.
Okay.
And just to finish my comment, when I originally designed that, it was like, they wanted to use it as like a soccer field over there. So again, I'm not trying to like discount what it would be used for, but I think regardless of what goes in that area, whether that thing stays or goes, it's a place where kids are going to play anyway, so.
But Matt, is there room for trees at the size you're
Yeah.
talking about on the east side there? Because the picture he showed.
Yeah, because you're more than 16 feet from the property line.
You are, okay.
Yeah.
Because it did not look like that
Yeah.
it
from the
doesn't look
picture.
like it.
Yeah, I didn't look like that.
Yeah.
sorry again, but those are trees shown on the other side of the fence. I was showing you that on my side of the fence, there's no space for trees there. On his side of the fence, there might be, but as I mentioned, I don't think it will be large enough.
He's got room on, because whoever built the fence before this gentleman bought the house, they somehow, for some reason, brought the fence in a bit off of their property. So he has 16 feet, a minimum between that sport court that they built and the property line, and then another several feet, I don't know the exact number, but he's got some property on the other side of the fence, right?
Well, only 2-3 feet, that's the point I was making, on those sides. What-
6 feet? 6 feet.
It's not a
Right,
straight line,
so-
so I know that.
So anyway, the sport court from the property line is 30 feet away, 25.
Here, you can sit down now. Thank you. I'm sorry, I kind of let that go a little bit longer. So, Matt, you're done?
You want me to be, I'm just.
No, no. All right. Thank you, Matt. Is there anyone else like to speak on this item?
Yes, I'd like to as well. I didn't think that I would, but I just kind of wanted to put it into a little bit of context because
So your name and address?
Margot Cargill, 4900 Losser Road.
All right, so you were kind of part of the other presentation, so if you could be brief?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Well, I was just flipping through that, but, I do understand that grievance issues, they're unpleasant. And so, I really understand that from a perspective personally, when you're enjoying, your property and you're a new homeowner that would like to be able to enjoy their property, who experience the property with a certain degree of quiet peacefulness. I'm from New York. So, I know noise. I know Manhattan noise, I know Brooklyn noise, and I also know Long Island noise. And it's horrifying to me that we moved here, we bought our property so that we could actually get away from that noise. And this has not been the case. It's quite disappointing because, Mr. Cito, our neighbors, who Matt is also doing that, I'm sorry, I'm quite emotional because it's disturbing. It's been disruptive, and it's been disturbing to our lives and our family. So Mr. Cito, he did the right thing. He came to us. He said, this is our project. Another neighbor who is not approaching us, not telling us about our project, and lying to contractors about where things are supposed to go, I'm sorry, I don't trust them. I don't trust that they're going to be planting the trees where they should be. I don't trust that they'll maintain the integrity of our home. And this is what we do, protect our property values. This is indicative of what will occur eventually if we don't put a stop to things like this. And all we're asking is that they adhere to original plans. Those were the rules. It's simple. Adhere to the rules. Don't lie. Don't do what you want to do, because that's what they're doing. They're doing whatever they want to do. They don't care. And I'm asking the board to make them care, because those are the rules, whether they like it or not. And one other thing that I'd like to share with you is actually the music.
So,
I don't want you to think that we're exaggerating about this.
right, but that's the thing that we're not regulating the music. We're regulating the request for the sports court.
Okay.
But what I would add, I would like to hear it just because had they planted evergreen trees like they were supposed to, trees can reduce noise. And we don't have the value of knowing what the noise would be had they planted the trees as we instructed them to do. So I think it is relevant to hear.
All right,
I would like to hear.
play the music.
On the trees?
So you'll get
And
a
how are
chance
you
to
going
respond.
to stagger?
Yeah.
How are you going to stagger trees
So just hold
accordingly
on.
for
Just-
to block
She's got the
them?
floor, so go ahead. Let's hear the music.
I don't know if you can actually hear that because it, and that's when they're swimming, when they're not swimming, when there's no one outside, when they're playing on the basketball court. It's constant. The kids screaming, yes, I understand. But that's from our balcony. That's absurd. It's obscene. And like I said, all I ask is that the board make them adhere to the plans that, Matt, you did a beautiful job on this project. Adhere to the plans. It's simple. It's not rocket science. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to comment on this? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Let the applicant respond.
Just to address the trees, as my client does intend to plant trees, there's been multiple proposals. He has gone through proposals with myself and with other landscape companies. Obviously trees cost a lot of money. He's been going through them. He does intend to put in the trees this summer. We've gone through many.
Why didn't you put them in this summer? That would just pass.
Right.
So all of this came down in the middle of the summer when we had these issues. I think it was like August or September. We discussed putting them in, and then I said, hey, we don't know where the cards are going to lie with this. I said, let's hold off, but we do, we know that they are part of getting our final approvals for the whole project, for the cabana, for everything. So before any final inspections go in, all of the trees will be planted. So I completely appreciate their concerns, but all the evergreens will be going in alongside the property line that calls out on the plans.
The public hearings.
Yeah, so, just to address the neighbor's point, towards the corner of the property, there is 6 feet of open property between the fence and the property line, and the property line then grows as it goes. So there is, I believe on the, if you can open up the site plan. So the fence is pretty much square to the house, but the property line angles way up. So if I can get the top view, if you got a point. So how does this thing? Okay. So right about here, we have about 6 feet, and then as it gets up this way, it grows to be around 10 feet. So there's room for evergreens, and obviously, we showed evergreens here because the neighbor does, or the homeowner does not want this to be a problem, is more than happy to add whatever evergreen screening. I mean, that's why we have it proposed, we have everything. It's just, as it sat, the project is still under construction. There's still things that are happening to the.
They're using it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what they do. I mean, I was there during the day. I mean, obviously, I know that there's a lot of concerns about, noise and the cabana and pools and, all that being said, I completely respect that. But, when it comes down to the fact that we want to put in some large evergreen screening, the client fully intends to do so.
Well, let me ask, why was it moved from the previous approved location?
Right.
What was the reason?
Honestly, after talking to the client, so this right here's his main back patio. So he expressed to me, he goes, he goes, I wanted to put it here because I can't see my kids, I can't see anything, I can't, for us to have it there, I can't, I can't experience my family. And I said, well, you're within your setbacks, you're within the ordinance, so I don't see why, and me being naive, I just didn't see it being a problem because I knew that, I knew everything was within the ordinance, I knew that the evergreen screening was going in, I just figured.
But the screening didn't go in.
Can it be located where it was originally approved? Can it be located there? Physically?
I'm going to say no.
Why?
Just the way
Why
the
did you apply for
topography.
it there?
What's that?
Why was it applied for in that location if it couldn't physically?
I wasn't a part of that approval process. I just.
Well, apparently they thought it physically could go there.
Well, I mean, on the paper it looks good, but in person the topography of the ground was higher on the one side than the other. So.
I have a problem when something's approved and we go through all of this.
I understand.
It's noticed, neighbors are contacted, and they give their approval and everything. It goes through this whole process, and then you move it and do something different.
I understand.
Without their approval.
And it's
I know that-
significantly different.
So is there anything else you'd like to add? Because we're going to need to discuss this.
I understand. No,
So, okay, I like the board to talk freely. So I've been on the board, I guess, 20 years. Let's say. I've never seen someone so egregiously disregard a decision by this board. We've heard plenty of, I think, reasons that the current location is unsuitable. I remember when we approved this, there's no way I would vote to approve the sports court in the location that's being requested. We can just start with there. So I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I think this is a blatant disregard
I'm in agreement with you.
of what we decided. There was attempts by the homeowner to compromise that have been ignored. I absolutely am empathetic to them that they don't trust us anymore. So for all those reasons, this location would never work, in my opinion. And if they don't want, I mean, I think they'd have to come back now.
Yeah, 'cause it's
for the-
expired,
Yeah, it's
isn't it?
expired, so,
The prior approval?
no.
Well, we do, I would say because there are open permits currently for the other structures that are under that permit, that we would,
Let them
if it
move
was in the exact same location.
Okay, then he could, I mean, that's still an option, but,
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
But I do want to say, and as I spoke to the neighbors this afternoon, is that there's nothing, that original landscape plan was approved and still, it would still be required to be installed in accordance with that plan. So when I hear that they're looking at options in terms of landscaping from the township standpoint, that landscape plan that was originally approved would still need to be installed as approved by the zoning board as it related to those other accessory structures.
Correct.
And that goes back to my original point. I've never seen such a blatant disregard for the decision of this board, both by the location, the screening, everything. So,
Isn't the size different too?
and the size is different. So, I mean, it's,
I agree.
I mean, you have all the topography in a plan here that shows that it can work or not work.
Right.
And if it
And
was
that-
drawn here, then it would have worked in the original
and
spot.
my blood pressure has really risen because the homeowner's not here. So I can't make a motion, but that's how I feel.
I feel no compulsion to approve anything that's being presented. I can't support it. This is anarchy. That's why we have government, to avoid anarchists. So,
So any other discussion? Could we make a motion then? And you know, I don't like pulling up things like this, but this meets the test. This is, so who's the best motion maker on our board here that could make this motion properly?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to take a stab at this one. And this is it's a permission and a
Yeah.
dimensional, okay.
And actually, if we denied the permission, we wouldn't have to go any further,
Okay,
correct?
Correct.
so just permission.
Okay. All right, well, in regards to the appeal at 4955 Stone Lay Road for the accessory structure of the existing sport court, I move that the request be denied as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did not demonstrate compliance with Section 42-7.6 standards. The location, due to the location of the accessory structure, will hinder or discourage the adjacent use of the property due to it being moved to a new location, which now does have an impact on the adjacent neighbor in a variety of ways. So therefore, this motion to deny the request, the existing sport court and fence must be removed or amended within 30 days of the approval of these meeting minutes.
Support.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Your request is denied. Please convey that to the homeowner. The sports court is going to need to be removed within 30 days of the approval of the meeting minutes.
Okay, I will let them know. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
Calling the next item, item 8, 125 Maywood.
I get to follow that.
I was going to say, lucky you.
Lovely. Good evening, everyone. My name's Joe Wilson.
And I see you have existing structure.
Oh, God, kill me now.
Great.
Just stab me in the
We're
eye.
able to clear our minds to move on to the next
Let's take a
agenda.
second. Let's just
Better
take a
than
second.
anyone. So it's always the next play. So it's the next play. We're clear.
clean slate.
Clean slate.
Thank you. My name's Joe Wilson, Wilson Design Associates. I'm here on behalf of the Mooters at 125 Maywood, and you're right, I'm here asking, I think, a permission as well, right? But we do have a dimensional variance, a permission request, and then a little bit of forgiveness as well. My homeowner can't be here. He's out of town on business. He wanted to be here, but he sent me instead. We're asking for those 3 items for a boulder wall, a gas fire pit, and an L-shaped kitchen. We have a unique, very unique lot. It's actually 3 parcels and an outlot. The homeowner uses all of it as one parcel. It sits adjacent to the Rouge River, which floods with regular frequency. I guarantee you guys go out there tomorrow, it's underwater. Not only that, there was water coming down Maywood. We supplied pictures. I don't know if the pictures made it into it may be in your packets, but the flooding is the major issue. That's our hardship. And these items were placed there by the contractor because it was very simply one of the higher points of the property. Maywood Drive is a dead-end street that basically dead ends into the river. We are working with Angela Heisinger about some floodplain issues, which we're working on. We were told to do this first. She's second. She's aware of that. Those issues are minor, by the way. Secondly, we do have an Eagle floodplain permit. We have soil erosion permit. And I have a letter of support with maybe 15 or 20 of the surrounding neighbors, including the gentleman across the street, which is by far the closest neighbor. And those structures are separated by the road by beautiful 20-foot Serbians, and I think there's a Norway tube in there as well. So the project's not 100% complete. I would probably say it's about 75% when they got the stop work order. And, yeah, the homeowner's really anxious to comply and figure things out and move beyond. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Out of curiosity, how come they haven't just combined the 3 lots into one?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, because that would take care of one
Is
of the variance requests right there.
that something that can be done in the next few days, weeks, months, whatever?
You know,
I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with that process, so.
That could be a recommendation or condition from the board. I'm not aware of any reason that it cannot be combined. I know we had one that was in 2 different school districts, and that was the reason why it couldn't be combined. But it's not, that has occurred in the past, that's been a condition.
Right. Because that makes sense to me.
He certainly uses it as one.
That gets rid of one of your issues.
Yes, he certainly uses it as one, and he's only been in the house for a few short years. His intention is not to split those off.
Well, he wouldn't be able to do anything with the other 2 independently
correct.
anyway, so, I mean, it makes it more conforming.
I understand that.
Right. Okay.
And I'd certainly take that back to Mr. Muter and make that suggestion, so.
Any other questions?
My only question, so with regard to the natural feature setback, what is the encroachment into that?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. I meant to bring that up. So, right now, well, tomorrow will be different
Okay,
because of that river.
sure.
Right? And the contractor, he swears, Joe, that was 25 feet all day long. And I don't doubt that. You go out there in August, it's going to be 27 feet. You go out there tomorrow, it could be 18 feet. Who knows? We did supply pictures of the hole that, if you look at the picture on, well, there you go, on the upper left, that whole area from the silt fence, that whole lawn area floods. And when I say floods, we're not talking about six inches in your basement. We're talking about feet. That floods 4 to 6 feet in there. No joke. There's a little bridge that goes across the river. It's been there for 100 years. It's got a little rope railing on it. That bridge from the water is about 3 feet, and there's pictures that we supplied that show that water this tall from the top of the railing. So and when I talked to Mr. Muter today, I'm like, is that 5 feet, 7 feet? He goes, no, it's every bit of 6 feet, I bet you, from the water to the top of that railing. So we're talking there's significant flooding issues here, which is why that's built up. It was originally one of the higher points of the property. They did build it out a little bit to accommodate that, but that's where that's sitting there. And the contractor, like I said, I have no doubt that in July, that thing complied. When the surveyors went out there, it all of a sudden did not comply. So that's where we're at.
So they can get to it without taking a canoe, right?
I wouldn't go out there tomorrow. I'm not kidding. And not only that, so the bottom right-hand picture is is that fire pit.
Right.
The water came down Maywood, and before that was all there, ran right down there. Just on the other side of those U's there is where that bridge is. So that water used to run down Maywood and run down that whole part, which is why I say we, but the contractor retained it, built the patio in there. So.
Whoa.
Yeah. Wow. That's what we're talking about.
Wow. Okay.
And the homeowner is taking pictures of it. He says it almost laps against his foundation on his house. That's how high it gets.
Jeez, Pete, are you aware of, are we allowed to ask the question?
Yeah.
Sure.
Are you aware of any mitigation opportunities that have not been addressed that could alleviate this, like action by the county?
That I don't
Action by
know.
the state?
That
Are you aware of anything?
No. In talking with Ms. Heisinger, we suggested doing some plantings and trying to, Eagle didn't want anything. In fact, there was some cobble that the contractor had put in, basically where that roughage is. You can see the silt fence there.
I'm not sure what's going on with that.
This was originally taken out, and there was some cobble put in there. When we, again, I'm part of the team, but I didn't do it. But when we went to Eagle, they made us take that out, that cobble. It was absolutely no problem. We took it out. If you showed a picture of it today, that has repopulated itself way better than anybody in this room could do it, I guarantee you. It's pretty impressive, actually. But as far as upstream, downstream, no, I don't know of any issues like that. We asked Angela if she wanted us to put in some native plantings in that 25-foot. She goes, I think they're just going to get washed out, and I would tend to agree with her. It's pretty bad, so, which is why the boulder wall's there. So, is to try and protect the slope.
Is this a newly built house?
House has been there for quite a while. The landscape, obviously, this is the last portion of this. This was, I think there was a penalty flag thrown on this, I want to say, in the, you have any idea how long it's been?
No one is officer.
Oh, well, then you would know. Did you throw the flag, sir? That's
Well,
going to
you mean when I came out?
Yeah, was that this summer or was it last? I
That would have
forget.
been, I believe it was last summer.
Okay.
He was last summer, and I believe it might have came in as a complaint, and we went out there and checked it out and saw there was some structures and stuff out there that shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Do you know what the complaint would have been?
That someone was doing work on the property without a permit, I believe that's what it was.
And Mr. Mooter has solicited, there's a, yeah, absolutely, it's yours. There's 15 or 20 names on there in support.
Any other questions? I think we got the picture, because I'll open, anyone in the public like to comment on this? Close public hearing, bring it back, because I mean, it really is unusual. We got 3 lots, don't have a house on one of them and a use, so, it's on the river. Not that thorny a request.
Is there screening for the kitchenette and fire pit? Or
Yeah, between the actual edge of Maywood Road and that, let's say the backside of the barbecue island, there's 20-foot evergreens in there. From that gentleman's perspective across the street, right now there's still a little access in there because they're not done, but that'll get planted eventually as well. The gentleman directly across the street, between his evergreens and Mr. Mooter's evergreens that are newly planted, you can't see anything, and it's, yeah.
So there are evergreens on the homeowner's property?
That's correct.
The applicant?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. I mean, I don't like houses like this, but I can approve this, so I can make the motion if.
That would be historic, so go right ahead.
Yeah, it will be historic. Okay, so with regard to, I'll start with the permission request at 125 Maywood Avenue for the existing kitchenette and fire pit. I move that it be approved as submitted. The applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the use of the accessory structure is appropriate to the neighborhood, as these are common features, and by reason of the fact that they will be screened 12 months out of the year with evergreen screening, so neighbors do not see them. With regard to the dimensional variance for the existing accessory structure on the lot without a principal structure and the patio, fire pit, and kitchenette encroaching into the natural feature setback, I move that that also be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the uniqueness of the home being on 3 separate lots and being in this very wet area. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact that there is neighborhood support for this, and the unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated, again, given the wet topography and the 3 different lots. And this is not self-created due to the reasons stated above. Because everything is existing, the permit should be made within 5 business days for the kitchenette, fire pit, and retaining wall. And I will add in there that the fire pit and the other structure, the kitchenette, should be screened. Now they're screened, but they should continue to be screened into the future.
Correct.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request.
Thank you, everyone.
Please suggest to your client that
I will.
they file the application to combine the lots, okay?
But to be clear, that's not, the approval's not contingent?
No, she didn't put it in the motion, so.
So item 9 was postponed, so we're going to move to item 10, 6520 Red Maple Lane.
Hello, good evening. My name is Mustafa Saeed. I'm the homeowner/builder for the site on 6520 Red Maple. We're seeking approval for the new home encroaching 11 foot into the, technically it's a side yard setback because it's on the corner of Maple and Red Maple, but it says front yard setback. So we were, there was an old home that was on there. We were planning to put a second floor on it, but due to the old foundation, it wasn't strong enough. So we actually decided to demo the house, and the old home, of course, it was encroaching 30 foot into the setback. So we decided to make the house smaller, of course, to fit, but still, as much as we squeezed it, as you can see, we weren't able to fit it, so we were requesting to see if we can go about 11 feet into the side. We do plan on, in the site plan it shows evergreen trees. We're probably going to put like a 3-foot berm and maybe like about a 10 to 12 foot evergreen tree to at least cover the first floor, almost half of the second floor, from the side of Maple onto the side of the house.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board?
I just have a clarification question. So you said that the home that you ended up demolishing was encroaching 30 feet into the 40 feet.
Correct.
Okay, so it's going to be a smaller encroachment.
We're actually going to be going in 20 feet.
Right. Okay.
It's better.
So it's less of an encroachment.
Yeah, so right now, the way it's the old house, that it's already demoed, but that garage is almost exactly 20 feet. So the new house will be coming up, it'll be coming up to the
archway's at?
to the beginning of the garage, kind of, where the archway kind of ends. That's where we're requesting the new house to be.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very visible spot there. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone like to comment on this item? Close public hearing, bring it back for the discussion or a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
So with regard to the appeal at 6520 Red Maple Road, for the dimensional variance required for a proposed new home encroaching 11 feet into the required 40-foot Maple Road front yard setback, I move that this variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the size of the lot and the setback from the road. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason that this is consistent with other homes in the area, and it's actually a reduction in the amount that it's encroaching. The unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated due that it does have multiple frontages, and this is not self-created. So, if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Item 11, 1801 Long Point Drive.
Good evening. Brett Buchholz with Nowak and Frous Engineers, here representing the Upper Long Lake Estates Association and their project to basically perform some maintenance on the existing boat ramps that exist on 1801 Long Point Drive. And specifically for here, just the encroachment into the natural feature setback for the southeast boat ramp. And it's just the portion that's sort of where they're going to have to work the boat ramp kind of landward of the water. So you're in that 25-foot natural feature setback, and that's why we're here. And I can answer any other questions for you.
Any questions from the board? Open the public hearing. Anyone that would like to comment on this item? Close public hearing, bring it back to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'd be willing to make the motion.
Please do so, thank you.
Okay, in regard to the appeal at 1801 Long Point Drive, for the variance to repair and maintain an existing boat ramp located within the natural feature setback, the applicant did demonstrate all of the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome given the fact that we've already got a boat ramp there, and the only thing the applicants are requesting is just the opportunity to simply repair it and maintain it. Also, there's no adjustments to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact that actually the association is the requester for this. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the fact that the boat ramp is already there and they simply want to work on it. And it's not self-created, once again, due to the fact that the boat ramp is already in existence and just needs the required repair and maintenance. If approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits, must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Calling item 12, 2217 Colonial Park Court.
Hello, my name is Charles Newell. I'm the owner of 2217 Colonial Park Court. My lot is zoned with 2 front yards, so I'm requesting a variance to replace my current deck with a new one, essentially the same footprint. This does encroach into the I think the term is second frontage, so my not backyard, front yard encroaches into the lot line. And then there's distance behind that to the sidewalk and then to Squirrel Road itself.
Okay.
Well done. Any questions? I'll open this to the public for comment. Any comment from anyone in the public? Close the public hearing, bring it back.
I can make a motion.
Thank you.
Okay. With regard to the appeal at 2217 Colonial Park Court for the dimensional variance, I move that it be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant demonstrated all standards for practical difficulty. Because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the secondary frontage that this lot sits on. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbor by reason of the fact that this is a replacement of an existing deck, and we've heard no opposition this evening. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated, again, given the fact that it has 2 frontages, and this is not self-created due to the reasons stated above. And I will just add that all necessary permits should be made within 1 year and obtained prior to construction.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is
Thank
granted.
you. Have a good night.
Item 136094 Rocky Spring.
You guys keep this place really hot.
I know. It is
I've had to get a
tonight.
drink of water like 3 or 4 times because I figured I wouldn't be able to talk. I'm Al
Yeah, we're all
Albram.
dehydrated up here.
We got water though. I'm Al Albram. I'm here for Mike and Lisa Demmer, and we're proposing a pool house for their home. They're a family of 8, and we're trying. And with the kids are getting a little older and stuff, and they want to be able to have an area for the kids and their friends to change without having to run into the house and so forth.
Any questions from the board?
Oh, let me tell you. So the back of the back of that area faces Inkster. It's all basically has a bunch of trees. We got a bunch of evergreens on the backside, 14, 16 feet, and on the sides there's big, large green giant arborvitae.
That's helpful, thank you. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone like to comment on this item? Close public hearing, bring it back.
Regarding the property located at 6094 Rocky Spring, I would move to grant the permission request for the proposed pool house as the applicant has demonstrated compliance with Section 42-7.6 standards. The size of the structure and the use of the structure and the location is compatible with the area and is usually found in areas like this. I would also move to approve the dimensional variance for the pool house located in the northerly side yard because the applicant has demonstrated a practical difficulty. The practical difficulty is by virtue of the unique shape of the lot. It's got 5 yards and it's is that a trapezoid? What is it? It's something. It's something.
Polygon.
Polygon, something.
Pentagon is 5 sides.
But it's not really, anyway, it's the unique shape of the property and the location on, with the 2 road frontages.
Yeah, it's a polygon.
And it will not cause any injustice to the neighboring properties, and the property is unique, which justifies the variance, and the request is not self-created. If this is approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. Now, additional evergreen plantings will be required to screen the pool house from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the structure at the time of planting. If what you have is sufficient, that's fine. If not, you need to supplement.
Okay.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
So item 14 was postponed. We'll move to item 15, 7320 Wing Lake Road.
Hi, I'm Ben Lingo with Monument Construction. I'm here with the homeowner, Larry Jacobs, for 7320 Wing Lake on approval for some retaining walls. We put a pool in the backyard. He had a pretty severe slope coming off his loggia into the backyard, and we wanted to keep the pool as tight to the house as possible in the back of the home. And then, the school's across the street, so we're trying to screen it from across the street so that the pool wasn't in line with the school. Pictures of retaining walls.
There you go.
There. So we have those upper retaining walls that are from that loggia up there that dropped off pretty severe. So we got them in there nice and tight. On the top of the loggia, we're going to end up putting custom railings around the top because there's such a height difference, and then also plantings in both tiers. Once the concrete's in, the bottom wall will be about 3.5 feet, and then the top wall will be about 4. So the only point that it's really above 4 feet, because they're 2 separate walls, is where it starts going up the staircase there. You can see that one little corner where they come together.
Okay, any questions from the board? Open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on it? Close public hearing, bring it back to the board.
I would like to add that, I'm sorry, the homeowner's going to wrap the whole property perimeter in green giant arborvitaes on the north, the west, the south, and then coming up the east to return to the house so that the pool equipment, everything will be confined. You won't be able to see it from anywhere around the outside.
Great. Thank you, that's helpful.
What is the elevation of your yard compared to your neighbors?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if we can see it on that plot plan.
I have a copy of the plot plan.
Yeah.
Was the property raised to build that house?
There was an existing home there. Can you?
Did you bring in fill? Did you raise it?
No, that's pretty much where the other home was.
Yeah.
That's what it was? Okay.
Yep.
Just curious.
So I am outside the notice area, but live on Wing Lake Road, and I think that's right. There wasn't any fill that I remember.
Yeah.
We have a letter signed by, it looks like, 4 neighbors who, among other concerns, they're saying that there's some drainage issues over there that maybe would have to be addressed, and perhaps adding the retaining wall will exacerbate those issues.
Correct. There was a lot of runoff in there, and we put some, there'll be some drains along that patio to grab all that water. Okay. During construction of the pool, there was a lot of groundwater that was underneath there, so that was constant pumping that. There's a creek bed that goes along the one side over there on the south side, so there was constant pumping the water out so that we could build the pool. But once it's all graded and everything's put back the way it's supposed to, that issue will go away.
And you've added additional drainage?
Around the patio, yes, there'll be additional, to grab that from the runoff coming off the house, and then behind all the retaining walls. Man, I'll just take a point off the corner of the house. This is... So what part would you like for me to give you an elevation?
I think that the question there, like there's no fill has been brought in or anything like that.
No,
is sufficient.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I mean, this is a very big piece of property.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it does slope severely in the back. Yeah, we had the public hearing.
Oh, you did do, I just had one quick question, which you may not have the answer to, but the home that predated this new build, do you know if the neighbors also had drainage issues then, or was it just when the new house was put in?
I don't know.
You don't know, okay.
It's a little bit marshy in the very, that would be the southwest corner. It's kind of marshy back there. But like I said, I think building the pool, pumping the groundwater out was the issue. I think once the lawn and everything's all in place and everything like that, it'll take care of any water issues.
And there was a lot of other vegetation back, I mean, they had to clear the site to build the house.
Correct. And then the arborvitaes, we're looking at 6-footers and plant them 8 feet on center, because the green giants will get 8 to 10 feet wide, 18 to 20 feet tall. So it'll be a nice giant wall that'll go through there, and the deer won't eat them. He's got a lot of deer in the neighborhood.
Yep.
Andrea, will they be required to bring like a landscape plan later, or is this?
Not necessarily landscaping, but they are going to be required to have a final as-built grading plan to identify and to verify that there's no negative impact to any drainage, and that's a standard requirement for any building permit.
Okay.
Are there going to be any other accessory structures put in the backyard other than what you?
He's got a shed back there that he got approved on, and that was it.
Mostly going to be grass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Have 3 kids.
It's like a park.
Oh, no, it's big. It's big.
Well, if there are no more
Okay,
questions.
no.
Carol, you have a question?
No, I was going to make a motion. Are you ready?
Oh,
You go ahead if you
This is
want.
great at the end of
That's
the
why I
night.
flip a coin.
Fighting to make a
I
motion.
know the motion,
I
Dad.
like the enthusiasm.
I know, and I would have stayed quiet.
Let her rip.
All right, I'm going to let it rip. All right, so in regards to the appeal at 7320 Wing Lake Road, for the retaining walls exceeding 4 feet in height, I move that the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty. Because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome, basically because of the severe topography of the property, of the lot. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors because there is a plan for adequate screening of evergreens, as well as a plan for drainage as well. The unique circumstances of the property, again, because of the topography, it requires such a retaining wall that will have a various height exceeding the 4 feet, and because of that, it is not self-created. If approved, the motion also includes application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. In addition, as I mentioned, evergreen planting should be required to screen the retaining walls from public view.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
So you'll be able to screen the retaining walls? You have space to do that?
The screening will be on the whole perimeter of the property.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, they'll get 18 to 20 feet tall, the green giant arborvitaes.
Nice.
We have motion and support.
Motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is
Thank you. Have a
granted.
good night. Appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Calling item 16, 6255 Telegraph.
Very patient.
Good evening. My name is Brad Egan. I'm with 814 Services. We are the developer for the site. What we're proposing is a Primrose Daycare Center at 6255 Telegraph Road. The current zoning is multifamily, but daycare is a special land use that we were granted a recommendation to move forward with the project. The building is 13,525 square feet with 46 parking spaces. The lot size is 2.17 acres, and the play area is approximately 9,400 square feet. We are seeking 5 different variances, but all with regard to the functionality and safety that goes along with this daycare center. Primrose, just to give you a little bit of a background, is a 40-year-old daycare company. They are known as one of the premier daycare companies in the country with over 450 locations. And their eye for quality, both as an educator or a daycare provider, also goes into the planning and design of their buildings. The 5 variances that we are seeking, the first is a dimensional variance that would install a 4-foot fence across the span of the front of the proposed building. The fence will extend from the northwest corner of the playground to just short of the main front door of the building. The fence will be properly screened and landscaped. It is necessary to enclose the area where children will exit the front classrooms to proceed to the playground area. It's required to keep the children safe from wandering away from the building and remain secure, so it's for child safety and functionality of the daycare center. The second is a dimensional variance to install a 6-foot fence that would surround the playground area to the north, east, and west sides of the play area, which would be properly screened and landscaped. The height of the fence is necessary to ensure child safety by providing enough height to keep the children contained in the secure play area and deter any ability for someone to reach over the fence for a child. So that is definitely a child safety issue. The third variance is a permission request variance to have accessory structures, playground equipment essentially, in the side yard play area. The equipment will consist of items custom made by Little Tykes for Primrose Academy. They include a tot tree, which looks like a small tree with kind of a tunnel that runs through it. Also included would be a set of 2 toddler safety seat playground swings, as well as what they call a Play Builder ground unit that has various games, a short tunnel, and other components for the children to enjoy. This area of the playground is for toddlers. That would be the north side of the north side of the property. So this would be a functionality issue. All the classrooms exit out into a fenced area, and then it's segmented based on age. And then the fourth is a dimensional variance of 3 feet 4 inches. That is above the 14 feet that's allowed by ordinance. It would allow the play structure in the rear of the site, which is the fire truck unit, is what they call it, with a shade topper in the preschool area of the playground. It has an overall height of 17 foot 4 inches, which allots for the 3 foot 4 inch variance. The shade topper, the canopy of the structure, is the reason for the variance request. This canopy protects the children from excess sun exposure while in use. The canopy also protects the structure itself from becoming too hot or cause the structure to deteriorate from sun exposure. It's also the premier piece of the playground area, which kind of the brainchild and the baby of the owner of Primrose Academy. This is his marquee piece for the play area. The structure will not be visible from Telegraph Road because the height of the building is higher than the 17 foot 4. So this is both for child safety and functionality. The fifth and final variance request is a permission request variance for locating the transformer on the northern property line outside the fenced area of the playground and not directly adjacent to the building, which is required by the ordinance. This request is for child and staff safety as well as functionality. With the playground area being surrounded by a fence, having an electrical transformer within the fenced area and directly adjacent to the building would cause a safety concern and essentially a hazard for both children and staff. So this is for child and staff safety as well as just the functionality because the electrical comes in from the north end of the property. To give you just a little bit of background, Previously to this meeting, we had our design review board meeting. We also had our planning commission meeting. And prior to the Design Review Board meeting, I met with 3 members of the Cranbrook Chase Condo Association to the north. Actually, 2 of them were here tonight. I met with Sandy Morrison, who's the president, and Tom DeCourt, who's the secretary. They were both here this evening, but things went a little long and they decided they were going to leave. I also met with Shay Pendray, who's the vice president of the association. I can't attest to what they would say had they stayed tonight. However, we did meet for about an hour at the Bloomfield Township Library in a private room. We went over the whole plan of the daycare center, and I can tell you that there was not opposition to the daycare facility itself or any kind of the design. The only thing that they did ask for was that we just use some care in regards to the 8-foot wall that is the demising wall between us and their condo association to the north. Just due to the age and condition of that, they just wanted us to be careful around it when we build. I'd be happy to take any questions and look forward to that.
Any questions of the board? I'm guessing that if they had opposition, they would have stayed, so.
Yes.
Open the public hearing. Anyone like to comment on this? Close public hearing, bring it back.
Looks like a nice place.
Yeah?
I want to play.
Forward, yeah.
All right,
It's been very well received by everybody that's heard about it so far.
There used to be a church at that site, is that correct?
There was. The church was kind of centrally located in the center. What has dictated our site plan is that MDOT, there was 2 access roads or 2 access approaches into the site. One was kind of in the middle of the site, and then there was one on the north end of the site. MDOT has required that both of those be removed. The proposed approach and drive is 205 feet from the center line of the road that is to the south that is the access road to the senior living facility behind us. So they wanted ample distance from that for safety reasons. And then the positioning of that on the site plan is kind of what caused us to position the building for proper parking adjacent to the building and the functionality of the site as well.
Any other questions? Or any?
Okay, with respect to the property located at 6255 Telegraph Road, I would move to grant the permission request for the proposed play structure, as the applicant has demonstrated compliance with Section 42-7.6 standards. Obviously, play structures are necessary for any type of daycare use. I would also move to grant the dimensional variances for the fence in the front yard, a fence exceeding 4 feet, a transformer not immediately adjacent to the main building and in a side yard, play structures located in a side yard, and a play structure in the rear yard exceeding 14 feet in height. I think there's unique circumstances. One is the location of this property. There's a little bit of an odd shape to this property, but more importantly, this is a daycare center, and the things being requested are absolutely necessary to secure the safety of the children that would be in the facility. So I think it goes without saying that these variances are absolutely necessary. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors, and this is not self-created. If approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction, and that's it.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Now, you have to be elected, I think.
Oh, correct, election of
Okay.
officers,
Is that on the agenda?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
their general business.
Well, I can resign.
So I guess I would move to re-elect our current chair and vice chair.
Okay, I would support that.
So I have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations to the chair and the vice chair. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.